Alrighty, well, let's try this. This is going to be something a little different. Yes, I'm wearing a floppy hat. Try to get used to it. I'm outside. I'm taking my show on the road for today. As I mentioned in the last video, there was some discussion as to whether exactly when I was going to retire. Of course, the title of the series was 731 Days. 731 days happened about 3 weeks ago on May 21st, my birthday, and I didn't retire then. But we knew that probably wasn't going to happen. We were thinking about September because I had found this loophole with the COBRA / Social Security thing, and we'd be able to stay on COBRA and then have a COBRA extension and get us all the way to 65 and take Medicare then. Okay, that was the plan. Well, I was wrong. That loophole thing that I thought was there wasn't really there. It was kind of there, but kind of not there well enough. So going back to plan A. I'm going to be on COBRA for so many months, and then go to Obamacare for so many months. I told my wife on election night that, I think retirement is off the table. I think we're going to head into a constitutional crisis. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen. Well, I tried to put on a positive attitude. That's where I came up with those two other plans, thinking, okay, I have a way around this. And you're saying, well, Mike, there's no way Trump was going to let Obamacare stand. Well, he didn't kill it last time because both he and the Republicans were too cowardly to do anything about it, because they don't want to vote Obamacare out, because then they have to put their name on it and they have to say that I took away the insurance of 12 million people. Well, now it's up to 20 million people, and they're definitely not going to put their name on anything and say I voted to take away working people's insurance. Because yes, the people on Obamacare are working people. The vast majority of people on Obamacare are white and working. So, and they get a discount on their insurance just like all the other working people whose companies take care of it. So they get a fair shake on getting insurance. Damn, fair shake. We can't have that, can we? So anyway, I mentioned this to a friend of mine at work who his day job is his insurance, and he mentioned or pointed out that at the end of 2025, there is a spending bill that's going to expire that needs to be renewed for Obamacare. And all the Republicans have to do to really screw things up for Obamacare is nothing. They have to do nothing. And if there's one thing a Republican congressman can do, is nothing. I'm on the mailing list for several Republican congressmen and senators and things like that, and they actually are very proud of making sure that nothing happens. So yeah, if there's a chicken shit way to kill Obamacare, they're going to take it. They've got it. Now all they have to do is say nothing and say, we didn't do anything. It failed on its own. It had nothing to do with us. And they don't have to put their name on anything. So, no, I'm not going to retire. I'm not retiring anytime soon, because I need my insurance not to expire. Why? Because I'm 62 and I have a lot of doctors. I go to a lot of doctors. I got a pulmonologist. I've got a cardiologist. I've got a team of ortho doctors, not to mention my GP, ENT, and somebody I'm forgetting. Was chatting with the wife about it, figured it out, and put out the plans like, yeah, okay, so for the next couple of years at least, I'm going to have to keep working. Not only that, I'm going to have to go back up to full-time. And, how do I feel about that? I'll manage. I think I'll get by. It could be a lot worse. There are people right now who are losing their jobs because of this administration. There are people who are losing their houses because of this administration. There are people who don't know where their next meal is going to come from because of this administration. There are people who are literally dying, especially in Texas, because of this administration. So I am not in that bad a position. In fact, originally I thought I was never going to retire anyway. I thought I was going to go work at a home improvement store in the hardware department and just be the hardware guy that talks too much. So we're going back to that. And so I'm thinking I'm going to be fine. So I put on the brave face. But apparently my wife knows me fairly well and saw right through that brave face. So maybe I'm not as good with it as I thought. Okay, so if she can see it, I might as well, instead of hiding it, deal with it. So what we did, or what I did, is I had a 3-week-long birthday/pity party. And on my birthday, I had copious amounts of barbecue, and for the several days afterwards, I had copious amounts of barbecue with chocolates and German chocolate cake. Yes, I got my German chocolate cake this year. And then it culminated in a 4-day trip to New Orleans, where I really ate. So in 3 weeks, I gained 11 pounds. So yeah, I got that to work on now. But now the pity party is over. It is time to move on. It's time to think about what's going to happen next. So what is going to happen next? What am I going to do now? Well, the plan, the work plan, that's that. The side hustles, most of them are going to be put on hold. The video side hustles with the other company may or may not come back. We're in a lull right now. We'll see what happens with that. It is what it is. But what I'm going to do about these videos, am I going to keep doing that? Well, yes I am. And I have a new mission. Also work on video techniques and stuff like that, although this is not going to be evidence of it. But going forward, we're going to have a new countdown. The new countdown is 508 days. What happens in 508 days? Well, 508 days from this day of this recording is the midterm elections. That would be November 3rd, 2026. That represents the last, and I'm serious, the last chance we have to save this democracy. It is up to you to vote for someone that will stick up for the country. And it is possible that if the elections come, that we will still elect people who want to end democracy. And I'm not being facetious, this is not my opinion. These are people who are trying to end democracy. When people voted for Trump this second time, they were voting to end democracy, and they knew it. I'm sorry, you knew it. He said he was going to be a dictator. He said he was going to lean more on executive orders, more than he did the last time. He said he was going to ignore Congress. He said he was going to ignore the judiciary. He said he was going to intentionally alienate all of our allies. He was going to start a tariff war. He said all of these things. Told you he was going to violate the Constitution, and more than 50% of the country said, heck yeah, let's get a dictator, because this dictator will do what we want, because that's what dictators do, what the people want. So, yeah, so we got a dictator, and now this doesn't say a lot for the Democrats. The Democrats can screw up a rock fight, because they were running against a guy who said Hitler wasn't all bad, and they still lost. So that says a lot about how they are out of step with the planet. So a lot of people who voted for Trump are starting to realize that all the other people that they thought were going to be affected, those people are going to lose their jobs, because those people shouldn't have jobs, because that's overspending and we don't need that department. And those people don't need that kind of medical care, because they're freeloaders. Those people don't need to have these programs or this education or whatever. What they didn't realize is those people are them. If you look to your left and you look to your right, those people are those people. But to those people, when they look at you, you're those people. So there's a lot of MAGA people who are really surprised that all of a sudden their government job is gone. And maybe not their government job, but their neighbor's government job is gone. And their neighbor used to come to their restaurant and buy food from them, but now their neighbor is unemployed, so now their sales are down. A lot of MAGA farmers and businesses that relied on undocumented workers are realizing that, wait a minute, you're not supposed to take my undocumented workers, you're supposed to take other people's undocumented workers. You're not supposed to affect me, you're supposed to affect them. Well, you are them. So now you're losing your workers and they're losing their jobs, and Medicare is being cut, and Social Security is in danger. So all of these things are happening. So maybe some people are realizing that, no, you can't have a benevolent dictator. It doesn't happen. So maybe enough people will vote in the right direction next term. But in the meantime, we got to make sure that there is going to be an election. So under this video, either on the screen or below, I'm going to provide links to find out who your congressman is, your senator and your representative, and also your state ones. You should find out who your state representatives are within your state, and yell at them too, because we all need to stand up. And I'm going to continue these videos. In the coming videos, I'm going to talk about several issues, because when I talk to people, I'm amazed how often people go way too far this way or way too far that way. And the answer is so much closer to the middle. And so I'm going to try and talk about the middle ground and why things need to change towards the middle. And do I think anyone's going to watch these videos? No. Do I think anyone's watching right now? No. I understand I am standing on the street's corner screaming at the people going by. But you have to do something. You have to scream, you have to stand up. The only way evil wins is for good people to do nothing. So I'm not going to do nothing. So this is me screaming on the corner. Videos coming up, I'm going to talk about immigration, I'm going to talk about the debt, I'm going to talk about the tariffs, I'm going to talk about our military ally situations, and try to put them into a better perspective. And do I want you to take my word for it? Of course not. The whole point is you need to find out a lot of this stuff yourself. I'm going to explain what I understand it to be, and then I want you to look it up and come to your own understanding. But look at multiple sources. Don't go to Fox News. They've in court been caught lying. CNN, they don't lie, but they slant pretty severely. AP is a pretty good source. They're much more boring to read because they don't scream, but they pretty much stick to down the center. Here's what's going on. Here's the numbers. Reuters, that kind of stuff. I don't know if UPI even exists anymore. Anyway, if you read something that you absolutely agree with and you say, wow, I knew it, see, now there's proof, doubt that article. Because it is probably something that they baited for you to sway you into someone's opinion. You need to look at that, read it carefully, look for the hyperbole, look for the wordplay, look for the 1984 doublespeak, and realize when you're being manipulated. And it's a lot. So look this stuff up. But in the meantime, we've got 508 days to save this country. And if you don't listen to another word I say after this, at least look at what's going on and act on what's going on. It will not take care of itself. As the old saying goes, the revolution will not be televised. You are either in it or you're out of it. So pay attention, fight back, go to the protests if you can. There's a King's Day, No King's Day protest coming up tomorrow. And so I don't know if I'll get this out in time to say anything about that. But if you go to these protests, for the love of God, be peaceful. They have to be peaceful protests. Why? Because you say, well, January 6th wasn't peaceful. That's not the point. You have to be peaceful now because Trump is begging you to be violent. He needs a violent protest so that he could send the army in to quell the insurrection. We don't see anything like that going on, do we? But if he can latch onto some violence to quell the insurrection, he can postpone elections and then it's over. So go show up so they can see you, but be peaceful. And like I say, write your congressman, and like I said, my buzzword, make Congress relevant again. Include that in your letter. If you have the time, please take the time to write a physical letter. Send them a postcard, something that actually shows up on somebody's desk, because then you're getting in their face. It's a bother. Emails, they have an AI go through it and they scan for buzzwords and like, okay, are they for me, are they against me, whatever, okay, and nobody's reading it. But the physical letter, that shows up. Now it's in somebody's face. They're going to have to do something with it. They may just throw it away, but they had to hold it. They had to see what it was and then throw it away. So that makes a bigger impression. So that's it. That's what I got. I'm Mike in Texas. I will see you next time.